Mike, I will. First of all, neither one of us are great hockey guys. It's probably the fourth of the sports that I follow.
Certainly, yeah.
But I do really follow it come playoff time. And the last couple of years I've been shaking my head and almost rooting against the Flyers because they don't seem to get it. And finally, it seemed like they got it because they were going to go out and get a big-time goalie, and they're going to have two Russian goalies. That blows my mind in itself.
Think of the irony of that.
Yes, yeah. Ed Snyder, what he was in the 70s, was like, let's go get those Russians.
Wow.
You know?
And also the role that Bob Clark had in defeating the Russians in that famous
game, yeah.
series that they played. I mean, it is ironic, yeah.
To get that goalie in the big contract means they had to move a contract, and there was rumors of Jeff Carter. He was the leading scorer. He gets traded, but before I saw that trade, Mike Richards, the captain of the team, goes. Here were guys, your captain and Mike Richards, and your leading scorer, Jeff Carter. Have you ever seen a situation like this, Mike, where you basically take and say, this wasn't working right. We didn't get the ultimate goal. They've had very, very good success. For a while, they had the best record in hockey last year. They made the playoffs. We were 2 years ago, 2 games away from a Stanley Cup. Yep. And you could blame the goalie then. But they blew up, I'll say somewhat blew up the team. They definitely redesigned the team rather quickly. Any other examples you can think of? Like that?
Well, I really can't. Not of two guys where both guys were at the level that Carter and Richards are at, as not just the two biggest stars in the team, but really kind of big-time players. I can't, and I'm sure there's been one, but that's not really the point. When you say the Flyers don't get it, Starkey, you mean that they did not understand the importance of the goalie?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So now, in order to afford the goalie, they had to do this.
Yes.
And it's this. I think that's the key element in this, where you almost can't compare this to other sports, is this constant leavening factor of the goalie who can have so much impact, certainly in the playoffs, or at least is perceived to have this tremendous impact. And for a while, it seemed like the Flyers. Well, maybe we have a couple guys, and maybe one of them will emerge, and it's not as much of a guarantee. Even if you get a veteran guy, it's not as much of a guarantee as you think. They've blown that up. They've blown that up, and we got to have a goalie. Did they compromise their nucleus as a result?
That's what we wait and see here. I think they traded talent for potential, and there's some great players, young players they got back, but are they going to be that good next year? And you have a Keith Primo, very good. Pronger. Chris Pronger, I want to say. Primo was there. Pronger is a very good defenseman, but he's getting older. So if these guys that are young and have a lot of potential, are they 1 or 2 years away? And then how old is Pronger then? How much in his prime? The thing with the goalie, Mike, is interesting is it seemed like last year in the playoffs they were like throwing darts. They had 3 guys they threw out there, none of them were working. The year before, Michael Leighton, I think 2 games in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Blackhawks, he cost them. That yes, they had enough scoring, they were high-scoring games. Some goals that should have been stopped. Shots on net that were, I think, a decent goalie stops. Now they got the goalie, and I think they've sacrificed some offense, and I think defense will carry you. So it's a difference of philosophy they've had for a long time with that team. And probably the best goalie they've got since 1987 with Ron Hextall, Pelle Lindbergh, and then you're going to go back to some guys in the 70s, you know what I mean, with the really good ones.
Bernie Parent, of course.
Bernie Parent.
I don't know. Apparently the Flyers were in a situation where you can't have the championship caliber club and the championship caliber goalie. So for after a long time of choosing one of those two things, now they've chosen the other. I think Paul Holmgren has a lot of guts, if nothing else. He's taken a big gamble here, and honestly, I don't know enough about hockey to say if it's a good gamble or not. I don't think anybody knows enough about hockey to say for sure if it's a good gamble or not. But it's a dramatic change in thinking for the Flyers.
I wrote down the name Bobby Abreu. Was this trade like the Bobby Abreu trade, where even though you had good talent you gave up to get potential back, it's a quality guys, was it more a matter of we're changing Richards and Carter, yes, we need some money, but was it changing the chemistry of the locker room and needed done? And that's what happened with Bobby Abreu.
Richards was the captain and supposedly not really well suited to that. So there are some similarities, but again, I'm going to say this is about the goalie and that leavening factor which doesn't exist in baseball, which is the goalie. So that's what this is.